Hi, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to our collective reading. I am starting off this reading with my scrying ball. And the first thing I saw, I couldn't tell if it was a hummingbird or a wasp. Obviously, two incredibly different energies. They both had sort of these biggish wings. I couldn't tell sometimes it seemed very clear, oh, it's a hummingbird. I guess the hummingbird has like the sharp point on the front and the wasp has the sharp point on the back. So I guess there was the sharp point on the front. So maybe a hummingbird, but it might be hard to tell. And I think that confusion and that need to kind of think it through a little bit is part of the message. Then I saw a cricket, and then I saw a flight of stairs. And it made me think about like how these animals make progress. And all of them are smaller. And the steps on the stairs were all very shallow and small. But we have like a jumping and a flying. It just seems like how we make progress and how we move something forward is a series of small steps. But the cricket made me really feel like they were leaps. They were small leaps happening. So, and the staircase actually had like two sides and was divided down the middle. So I think that there's not necessarily, like, again, there's this concept of two ways to do things. We can fly, we can hop. We can go to the left, we can go to the right. The destination seems to be almost the same. But it's a series of small steps is what I'm seeing here. So, all right, we're looking at, I never remember what these are called, Dreamscape Oracle first. All right, again, two totally different energies, but they look pretty similar, at least in these cards. We have our beloved white owl having returned to us here. Wisdom, sight, being able to see in the darkness, intuition, a very strong sense of intuition. Yeah, being able to see in the dark. And of course, wisdom is here. So even though there's not like, we may not be traveling through broad daylight where everything's like bright and clear and feels really good, there is a sense of not really, of being able to see something, being able to see something that, a different way of seeing things, It's very wise. You can still see things. It's just a different combination of, I want to say cones and rods in your eyes, a different combination. There's no movement though. It's more, there's definitely a stillness. I'm remembering movement from this white owl. I'm remembering when the white owl flew in a few weeks ago. But there's a lot more stillness here, and there's sight and wisdom. So still wisdom. Harpy eagle is pretty interesting too. A very different energy that's, I mean, they both have these like forward facing faces. But the harpy eagle is, this one's very specifically a female figure, a lot of determination, almost a little bit of danger to them. I mean, it's really interesting because the white owl has this like serenity and higher level wisdom, and the harpy eagle to me just reminds me of, it's very visceral. It reminds me of an earth sign that can fly. It's very, it's a little more determined. I mean, both of these, I mean, an eagle and an owl. I mean, but the harpy eagle to me is embodying more the wasp energy that we had in the scrying ball, and the white owl is not at all like the hummingbird. But, you know, if we're talking about two different energies, the harpy eagle has a little bit of a waspishness to it. The harpy eagle. I hate the term Karen, but it is like because there are lots of fabulous Karens in the world, and also sometimes it seems to be a way to deride a middle-aged woman who's clearly having a mental health issue and needs help. So I don't necessarily like, or just like actually has experienced an injustice and an unfairness and would like it rectified, but we can call her a Karen to dismiss it and say, don't worry your pretty little head, you're just hysterical. That's what Karen feels like to me sometimes. It's the new, it's her uterus, she's hysterical kind of insult, but there's oftentimes also a justification to it. But the harpy eagle is sort of like a Karen energy, and I mean that derogatorily, in a not good way, like a little. That's what I'm seeing here. So, oh yeah, I'll say, okay. And then in the what are we calling this? The Dreamweaver's Oracle, we have if the wild ones come with sticks. This is a little bit. Well, this is about drums. Drumming can be involved. Oh man, am I getting an image of someone I used to know? She was in charge of some sort of drum corps, and she was just mean, bully energy. Yeah, the harpy eagle has a bully energy here. So if the wild one comes with sticks, can be about internal bullying, internal those repeated thoughts that are just the crappy mantras that we get stuck in our heads. The you're not good enough drumbeat of it's not enough. This bad stuff is happening. This is you can't do this. You can't do this, and it's just this like constant drumming. It's going to give you a headache. But it can also come from the external, and I guess with the harpy eagle, it almost seems like there might be like maybe even a maternal or a female energy here that's a little bit like critical. It could be internalized. You could have internalized this critical nature, but there's just sort of repeated a crappy rhythm of thoughts, a crappy thought rhythm, whether that's external or internal. That seems to be present here. So if the wild one comes with sticks and you end up sort of repeating with fears and which we all do unless we're superhuman. Maybe you are. But it's a familiar rhythm that your brain gets into. And the other day I was thinking about keeping a dream journal. So this is coming up for a reason. So keeping a dream journal. And one of the things I think that's really cool about a dream journal is like we wake up and we focus on this dream that we had where our mind was utterly open and utterly creative, the most creative mind that we have. It's our dreamscape mind. And we can focus on that and think about that and what do all these things mean? And, you know, there's a mystical element to it. There's a subconscious element to it. It can be very useful. But one of the other uses it has is it prevents you from waking up and having the exact same thoughts you had the day before and the day before and the day before and just jumping into the sort of hamster wheel routine, and it can help you just stay in that state of ultra creativity for a while longer. And so I guess when I'm seeing this wild ones comes with sticks, it just reminds me of those repeated thoughts that we have and how dreams and focusing on our dreams and writing about our dreams can help us break out of these ruts and out of these routines that we have in our mind. And at least for a time, at least spend part of our morning, begin our day not having the repeated thoughts. So that's what I'm seeing here. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice this guy right here. Surfing rainbows on the moon. This is about imagination. So, and that's just what I was talking about is when we're keeping a dream journal and focusing on our dreams, we can open up our imagination to totally different thought patterns, new ideas that we've never had before. So surfing rainbows on the moon to me talks a lot about imagining the future. And I want you to do this very intentionally. I want us to do this very intentionally. Imagine and not even paying attention to these repeated thoughts or these repeated statements or these routines we get in with other people, with ourselves, But just focusing on something else. What do you want? What does your future look like? What would the best case scenario look like? And at least being aware of that and acknowledging that. And so opening up your mind to new ways of doing things and new ways of seeing a situation, new ways of interacting, right? These repeated patterns, like we just do the same thing over and over again. Here's the stimulus, here's the response. Here's the stimulus, here's the response. This is like talking about at least imagining a way to break that, try something different. Here's the stimulus, why don't we try a different response? Just try, see what happens. Could be the same thing happens, but we won't know unless we try. So, and then when Coyote calls your name, this is about divine detours. So things not quite going according to plan. Trickster energy is present here, and I think I saw that with just the toggling between the hummingbird and the wasp is that trickster energy, and then having to really think like, where was the pointy end? The pointy end was at the front, not the back. So but yeah, something not going according to plan, not the way you thought something was going to unfold at all. And I want to say there's a sense of like, listen, like stop and listen. And that being an important part of understanding why you are the way you are, why you are where you are. I think there's like asking questions as well. It's sort of your turn for detour, your turn for a problem, or maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just like a sudden screeching tires turnaround situation. And maybe this detour, this divine detour, this unplanned event or unplanned conversation or unplanned, not just unplanned, but really not something you imagined would be happening. And maybe it does have you like feeling insecure or something like that. And so maybe your inner harpy eagle might be something to pull out here, you know, meeting strength with strength. Like if there's a strong repeated pattern, maybe tapping into your own strength and determination and leadership will be useful here. But basically, the instructions are like, when the wild one comes with sticks, dive into your imagination. Imagine what you really want, how you want to feel, how you want to think about something, and maybe that's not the reality. It's not to avoid reality, but just to be more focused on what it is that you want, what it is that you see for your future, and understand that there are going to be some twists and turns, and some of them will be favorable to you. Some of them you'll like, and some of them will make you go back to square one. All right, and then one more shuffling of Guardians of the Night deck. That's interesting because the white owl, the harpy eagle, the surfing rainbows on the moon, and the when Coyote calls your name all reference the night sky. So there could be astrology at work. I know April's kind of wild astrologically. The only one that doesn't seem to be taking place in outer space is this wild one comes with sticks. The rest are sort of kind of out there energies or cosmic energies. I don't know. A lot of stars sparkle everywhere. All right, from the bottom of the deck, underlying 8 of Cups, finding a greater fulfillment somewhere, which is not here. Understanding that you're going to have to embark on something to get what you want, that you're no longer satisfied with the status quo. Again, we have these stars really calling my attention here. This is like a shooting star, a wishing. I never have seen wishing in 8 of Cups. But this tiger energy actually reminds me of this harpy eagle energy, of this determination to get what you want, to find greater fulfillment, to understand that there's an emptiness here. There's come to be an emptiness here, and there's further to go. This isn't This may have been great for a while, but there's further to go. And it's like further to go on the same path. This isn't one of those like abandon the path, move on, drop it kind of cards. This is like a furthering of this path, like where you are on a certain journey. It's not complete, and yet it's also not satisfying. It's not time to quit, but it is time to move forward and move on. And so something that you've become dissatisfied with, or you've become disillusioned with, or it's just not necessarily disillusioned, it's just not what you want anymore. And it's not necessarily the whole thing. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're continuing to find cups. We're still working with cups and emotional satisfaction. So you're looking for satisfaction. That is because you have become unsatisfied with where you are. Past, present, inner landscape. What's at issue? Environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Yeah, you're never gonna guess who showed up in this reading. Another owl. Yes, I see. Oh my gosh. And this is for one of my viewers in particular. We have another Luna moth right here. That's cool. All right. In the recent past, we have Knight of Wands. Oh gosh, this Knight of Wands is... I would usually think of Knight of Wands as like very charming, intuitive, slightly aggressive, maybe a little irresponsible, irascible, I want to say. An irascible man here who's, you know, a little impulsive. But this Knight of Wands is like... this... What on earth is this like oh, I know what this is. I know what this is, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, oh, it's interesting. There's passion, there's anger. It just feels like a very angry card, which is not something I've ever gotten out of Knight of Wands, but which does make sense because wands being passion, being intensity, and passion, and this Knight of Wands is someone who maybe spoke in intensity and spoke in passion, but I'm not feeling good passion. I'm feeling like, yeah, this is it. This is it, actually, this is it. The wild one came with the stick here. When the wild one comes, I mean, these cards have the same energy to me, and they have these sticks. This is a wild one that came with a stick. Yeah, I'm almost mixing them up on putting them back. Yeah, the wild one came with a stick already. Okay, so we have this like intensity, this anger, this fire, this, and nights are about communication. So it was some kind of communication that had a lot of fire to it and had a lot of intensity to it. That's in your recent past. You know, there is some relief I'm feeling in this possibility that this is in the recent past because we already dealt with it. We already dealt with it. And these readings aren't the only thing that's going to happen in your life. You know, there's lots of other things. So that's why we can like come to a reading and it can relate to something that's not necessarily what we talked about last week, but might be, but also could be something else that happened recently. So recently, yeah, a wild one came with a stick. And possibly even poked you pretty deeply in your subconscious, pretty deeply into your sense of self and self-worth. And it's a pretty pokey stick here. And I think this wand, in a way, they might have even intuitively drilled into a sore spot for you, like your sore spot. Maybe even about who you are as a person. I'm just thinking about Aries and Chiron, and like, yeah, they poked you, and maybe, you know, we have a lot of insecurities that aren't valid. I work with people with clothing, and a lot of the insecurities people have about their bodies are like nobody on the outside is seeing that, but they're very insecure about it, and it really feels, you know, they're very hyper aware of it, but it's not don't want to say it's not real, it's very real to them, but nobody on the outside could possibly validate this. Like, oh yes, that's definitely like that. Like, it's not visible to the outside eye. So it just is like some sort of internal thought process someone gets stuck in, which if the wild one, when the wild ones comes with sticks, this repeated thing of, I usually, one of my least favorites that I hear most of the time is, my shoulders are broad, I'm built like a linebacker. And like, that's not possible for 80% of women to have broad shoulders. Like, shouldn't there be like a bell curve? We can't, like, not everybody has broad, like, that's not possible. But that's like a common insecurity, but it's most of the time it's just up here. And so someone might have, like, as an example, someone might have said something about your shoulders, and then you're like, oh, I'm so insecure about my shoulders. But they didn't, it might have been intended, but might not have been. So now you're looping about your shoulders, right? So that's just an example of what I'm talking about. Or you might have been like, I do not. I know who I am, and I know that that's not true. But regardless, there was a pointy little word here, or situation here. And maybe you were able to realize that that was not true, or maybe it did trigger some looping, or both. So King of Swords here is the current situation. So there's someone here that has acquired some wisdom. It could be you just sitting with, again, it's a sense of sitting with what you know and sitting with what you've seen. There's a wisdom in choosing your words. And somebody here, it could be you, it could be someone else. It's someone who is capable. It's the opposite energy of the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is like the wasp energy. Yeah, the wild one came with a stick, a butt stick, and they stuck you with it. And so that's the wasp energy. And then now we have the King of Swords energy, which is this white owl, this wisdom, this seeing, this not necessarily saying everything you know, but knowing and being very wise with what you know, being smart with what you know. This could be you too. Like, maybe you were a little spicy recently, and now you're like reeled it back in, and you're like, no, I'm the sage, I'm wise, I only say the truth. I only, and I think about how I come across and how I say that. So the King of Swords here, very wise. So the energy has shifted from impulsive, angry, pokey BS to like, well, I have truth now. I'm going to wield it very smartly. This could be everybody in a situation where there might have been like a pokey, argumentative situation, and now everyone's like, well, no, I'm not the crazy one here. I'm smart. I'm being very smart with my words. I'm very calm. There's definitely a sense of calmness here, and also a knowing of the truth. And it's the same environment. I want to say it's the same place as where this Knight of Wands was pokey. This King of Swords in the same forest, in the same woods, is very calm, very knowing, and smart. This can also be an expert. This can be legal advice, a legal expert, or just anyone who's a master in their field of an intellectual field, a bookish field. In your inner landscape, we have Temperance. So this one is really coming through as being in two worlds. We have the amphibian, that can, cross between two worlds, and also has these really distinct phases of growth. There's this cooling water, right? We have this fire, this Knight of Wands, and this Temperance card is wait and see. It's also things take the time they take. Evolution is afoot. Changes are afoot, but they are very calm and very soothing, and there's no rush. But again, we do get this like leaping energy of preparing for a leap. We're getting our legs, and there is a sense of like blessings, communication, a full heart. Perhaps you're biding your time here until a time where you can take a leap. Perhaps you're taking a moment to revert back to an earlier state for the purpose of healing. Temperance can also be about healing. And I'm seeing like healing waters. And so maybe you're in like a time of stasis, a time of calmness, but it's to heal. And you may have in a way reverted to some tools you knew before, or some earlier place in your life where you felt safe and you felt calm. Like you've returned to a sense of safety, and you're staying here now until you're ready to venture out again, until you're ready to take a new leap forward. So it is the Temperance card is about leaps forward, but it's about gathering the strength and preparing for that. It's not time yet for a large leap forward. And that's how you're feeling internally. You may be doing some self-care, some self-healing. You're in, at least internally, in a healing phase, and have gone back to what you know. Perhaps you took a little venture out, and then now you're returning back to what you know and how you feel. And paying attention to that, and health. And there's this calmness. This Knight of Wands is very inflamed energy. I want to say like swollen infection energy. And then internally, your Temperance, you're putting a cool compress on that. You're reducing the inflammation. You're taking care of something that was inflamed, and very smartly so. You are being very clever and very smart about how you're going about this. And then what's at issue here is Two of Pentacles in reverse. Not able to handle everything on your plate, perhaps. Perhaps there's too much going on. You have too many responsibilities. You might very much have too much going on here, and you're not quite able to juggle all of it. It could also be that you don't have enough going on. Like you're wanting to take on more, but you're not able to take on more. So it could go either way. Either there's too much and something's out of balance. Something could be non-negotiable. Something could be, non-negotiable. Or out of balance, or you're not going to be able to kill two birds with one stone here. Like something's happened and you were going to like, oh, I'll go both see this person and run this errand. And either it turns into like 200 errands and 400 people you have to see, or you don't end up being able to do one of those. Like it's like a reversion back to one pentacle. Like, either you've reverted back to one pentacle, or you have two pentacles, or you have two things that you're trying to do, and you're not able to do both things. Like you can't do all of this. So I can see both energies of just being really overwhelmed and also being very underwhelmed and not quite having enough, or being a little bored, or being no, not bored, maybe bored. It's not something's not negotiating. It's not, this isn't two people that are really working something out together. It's not that. It's just a little too much to deal with, or it feels like a little too much. And then there's a lot of two energy though. Like there's the two dolphins here, which I saw as two ravens, which is interesting because I have two ravens. Well, no, they are crows, building a little nest in this tree outside my window. So it's been cool to watch. And that's, maybe there's not two people working together, because that seems important, like that, because that's what I saw when it's obviously two dolphins kind of flowing together and taking turns. There's not a turn taking, there's not two working together. And then in your environment, we have the Lovers card here. This is interesting that she chose, she chose these scorpions. And then we have this like healing symbol here. The scorpions, the snake, and the Luna moth. Being drawn towards something. Choices and decisions, but the heart really drawing you towards something. Yeah, it's having very much like the moth being drawn to the flame, but it's not the flame, it's the moon, but the flame just looks like the moon. So in a way there's like again that energy with the, is it the wasp or the is it a wasp or a hummingbird? You know, is it a flame that's going to burn you, or is it a guiding light? Is it a guide? And again, that duality coming in with the Lover's card. And so this is in your environment. So it might be a choice that's being posed to you. You might have to choose between two things and not be able to do both things. So a choice that might be posed to you. It might be a stark choice. It might not be a choice that you like. No, but somebody is making a decision, whether they're going to go with their heart or go with their head. Somebody could be very drawn to you, but not quite certain of you. I think that, like, is it the King of Swords that's making this decision? It's just, is this a wise decision? Somebody's making a decision still. Maybe you thought the decision was already made, but it wouldn't be. Your to-do list is 5 of Swords. A very realistic look at the landscape here. Moving through a difficult time, choosing yourself, choosing what's best for you in a situation. But there's also this sense of like, it's a lose-lose situation. Like, there's not, in 5 of Swords, it's just not like a rich decision-making landscape where you can choose 20 different fruits, and there's like fruit trees and all sorts of wonderful options and all sorts of fabulous things to pick from. This is like, for dinner, would you like rancid meat or rotten fruit? Those are your options. So I'm going to go with rotten fruit because I think it's going to be a little less pukey than rancid meat. So you don't have great options right now. And you're likely to piss everybody off with whatever you choose. People are going to be mad about it. And so that's sort of the 5 of Swords. So you might as well choose. It's like, don't consider a bunch of other opinions when you're making a decision right now. And you may be in a very unexpected place where it just doesn't look like where you thought you were going. It's not great for you either. Like none of the situation isn't great for you. It's between a rock and a hard place, really. And there's not a lot of great options to pick from. So you might kind of feel, 5 of Swords always feels like a little bit backed in the corner. Like, you're not given a lot of really super duper options, but at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself. It's sort of a soul contract with yourself that you're going to take care of yourself. Yes, we're generous, we're kind, we're helping other people, but sometimes we're between a rock and a hard place, and it's kind of a difficult situation. So you're going to have to just take care of yourself and understand not everybody's going to be happy about it. It's very much not people pleasing. That's the instruction. Not people pleasing, that's for sure. And certainly not like any kind of wild one that came with a stick. You're not trying to make them happy. This is like you're like kind of in recovery mode, and yet there's this ongoing situation, which I don't know. Boo. I don't like it. So, and the swords has to do with maybe written words, maybe words. I mean, with this Knight of Wands, we started off with some spicy words. We've calmed down a bit. There's King of Swords. I mean, we have 3 swords here. It's just not. The words are sharp. It's really interesting. 5 of Swords. So your to-do list is make the difficult call. Be realistic about what you can expect out of a situation. Don't people please. You know, it feels good to help people and assist people and make them feel really good about them. They're, you know, that's natural. It's normal. We want to be helping people feel good and giving of ourselves. This isn't really the time for that, of like really putting yourself in harm's way for the sake of other people. So making sure you're getting your needs met here. It's I personally am a bit of a people pleaser, so it's like always like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go against my very nature here. Okay, but that's, yeah. The landscape, just not a lot of great options being offered here. And that's what I'm seeing here too, like not a lot of great options. So 10 of Swords is where we're headed. Oh boy, it just gets prettier and cuter, it doesn't it? Yeah, that's really cute. I don't even know if I want to show that. The end is near. It's coming. This won't go on forever. This isn't going to go on forever. Something's coming to a close. Something gets shut down. What's done is done. And there'll be an opportunity for healing to come in, or at least this is over and we're not having to deal with this anymore. So there will come a time when this too shall pass. That's what 10 of Swords is. This too shall pass. So, so difficult situation that will come to an end eventually. The healing that you seek, that you want, will come in. But it will end at some point. This too shall pass at some point. Difficult, painful situation though. But it's not going to go on forever and ever and ever. All right, well, we got one here and then that one. Whew, that's... Well, I was not expecting to see this one. 33, Horse Spirit, freedom is yours. In some ways, it's like, you're free to do what you need to do here. You're free to do something. So that is so interesting. And maybe like, what does freedom look like to you? What would that feel like? Financial freedom, emotional freedom. And there's a strength and a stamina here. There might be more choices than you think. But this is just such a stark environment. I don't know why I picked this deck. It's too dark. It is Guardians of the Night, so it is a little bit dark. So, and then we have Cow Spirit. Miracles are endless. And this, like, miracles to me means like something unexpected that you didn't necessarily, an unintended consequence. Maybe you don't even know what all went into this, but something unexpected coming in, assistance, help, guidance. Cow Spirit. Oh my gosh, it's Cow and Horse Spirit. We have a little farm. We have a little farm here. Yeah, with the cow and the horse spirit, very domestic bliss, happiness, freedom, and unexpected freedom. Or something just being, the miracles are endless. It's just this, there's a solidness, there's an earth spirit, there's a celebration. I'm hearing like, who, me? Like there's just this pleasant domestic surprise. Anyway, assistance may be coming when you least expect it. And I'm seeing that with the coyote calls your name is like something very, a divine detour that's actually like going to be pretty awesome, I think. I hope. We need a little hope here. So I'm going to do the auspicious symbols. The hope is that the dawn is coming. A new day is coming. And it won't always be like this. And if you're in a dark time, it does come to an end. This too shall pass. And it won't always be like this. So you won't always feel like this. So this is potent for me right now. This card. Okay. So this one we'll do first. Fortune cookie. Ingest a sweet and helpful advice that is placed in front of you. Follow what leads you. So there's going to be some really good advice, maybe in here, maybe with somebody else, maybe someplace else. Maybe you read it. Maybe it is actually a fortune cookie. But I think the advice feels good to you. Like, ooh, that feels good. Maybe you're reaching out for advice. Maybe you're asking someone for some advice. And, always be careful who you ask for advice. Like, make sure they know what they're talking about and living a life you admire. Don't take advice from people that suck. It's tempting, but don't. So there's advice that's coming for you that is placed in front of you. And then Bridget. Bridget offers supreme blessings of healing and protection on your journey ahead. So Bridget, very powerful for me personally. But also this fire, she contains this fire, she holds this fire. She's like protecting like an inner fire and also making sure it doesn't rage out of control. So blessings, healing, and protection. And I feel like the protection very strongly. So feel very protected. Ask Bridget for help if you need it. And the healing vibes in the Temperance card. And protection is sort of you pass through this difficult space where you're in a kind of a no-win situation here. And it is a inhospitable land. Maybe it used to be great, as we were talking about with this Eight of Cups. Maybe it used to be fine, but it is, right? I mean, there used to be a forest here, but there is no more. So we're going through an inhospitable land. And as you travel through this inhospitable land, Bridget will be protecting you and helping you. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me here, and we will talk again soon. Bye. How did I do that? Okay, bye.